I'm Mark.
And I'm Zach.
Every week, on a Saturday, in the Fab Radio International Studios,
we discuss 3 of the week's comic book releases and decide if we want to...
pull or pass. Hello and welcome to Pull or Pass, your weekly geeky comic book show. This is issue 9. And I'm Mark, hello.
And I'm Zach, hello.
Yeah? We're in the Fab Radio International Studios for our 9th. We've done 9 of these now. That's quite a lot, actually. That's more than we could have done.
It is, yeah, true, very true.
We're doing a special this week because Marvel and DC had nothing but one-shots and there was nothing that was really starting a new storyline or anything like that. It was basically nothing that we felt we could do a pull or pass thing with. Mm-hmm. So we're having Indie Week. Indie Week, where we've got 3 indie comics, so no Marvel and no DC this week. But don't switch off, because, don't be that guy who doesn't support independent stuff.
I like to think that sometimes, most of the times, independent stuff can be better.
I do too, but that's because I'm a massive indie mark.
Yeah,
I love Image and I love Dark Horse.
Just whenever you refer to yourself as a Mark, the fact that you are also Mark, I like that.
I am aware of the irony. But before we talk about our Indie Week comic books, have you got any news, Zach?
I've got a few things.
Yeah, this is quite a busy news week compared to last week where there was no news. The news was that there was no news and I was discussing the lack of news. We've actually got some news.
But is your news the same as my news?
It might be.
Is the news question.
Well, it might be. My first news is that there's a new epic rap battles of history dropped, and that wouldn't normally be something that we would talk about as news, but it is Pennywise from the It films versus the Joker, and I was really excited about it, and I really enjoyed it, and Joker totally won. But yeah, if you like epic rap battles of history and or you like comic books, that is news.
I'll agree with that. That's news enough for me.
It's good news.
Compared to last week's no news, this is definitely good news.
That's actual news, even if we don't have much to talk about with it. It's actual news that it's worth letting people know about, isn't it?
And I hear it could be connected to the Joker sequel.
Oh, well, there's a Joker sequel. That's not news. Have you got any news?
So the first thing I've got is Channing Tatum, the Maxx. That's it. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Well, you see, I've only read the Maxx versus Batman, and I quite enjoyed it. I'd never heard of the Maxx. I'd never seen the Maxx before or after, but I quite liked him when I read him in Batman. So
when I was at uni, I did a project that was about kind of adaptations of comic books,
right?
And one of my uni tutors was like, "You should definitely read some of the Maxx and then watch some of the '90s Maxx cartoon." And that's like 2 hours of my life I can't get back.
Oh, do you not like the Maxx?
I don't mind it. I just, for that particular project, didn't help. But
okay.
I'm curious what we could get from a film and how it'll be updated from the 90s stuff I've experienced.
I think it's nice that we're getting indie films as well as MCU, DCU, and comic book-based films that are getting some serious investment. If Channing Tatum's involved, they're clearly taking it seriously. So I'm quite excited about it, even though it's not a franchise I'm particularly...
It's still nice to see it happen.
Yeah, I mean, something like The Boys, I'd never read the comics, but I loved the telly show.
I think that's...
to the point where it made me want to read the comics, so,
Even though kind of mainstream superhero films kind of go in and out of popularity, I think we have always had kind of indie comic adaptation history, with The Crow and other such hits. Spawn, of course, was a major
Spawn,
blockbuster.
Which, not last week, but the week before, I had a huge love fest about Spawn, because... it had a great soundtrack.
And maybe we'll go back to that today, who knows?
It's almost like you've seen the show notes. I've got some more news.
Yeah, me too.
Donnie Cates has been arguing with thieves on Twitter.
Yes,
did you see that?
Which was, I think it was kind of provoked by...
a thief?
Well, no. I know Joe Glass, who writes The Pride, commented about realising that all of his series The Pride, which was small press to begin with, and then Comixology Original, had been he'd found it on a comics streaming site, and it kind of upset him because he'd like done the maths on 16,000 people had read it, and if 16,000 people had bought the comic on Comixology, he could have made more of it. So I saw that, and then the next day saw the stuff from Donnie Cates. I don't know if that was all connected, because I know they do know each other.
Yeah, so. Inevitably, but the reality is, I'm sorry, you just don't have a leg to stand on. I have a limited budget, and we've talked about it on the show. I've passed on stuff that I quite liked because it wasn't quite good enough to fit on, to fit onto my pull list. And if I had infinite money, of course I'd have pulled them. And people don't have infinite money, so don't steal stuff. You wouldn't go into a comic book shop and steal a physical copy of a book.
Yeah, of course.
Of a comic, so don't steal it online. It is theft. There is no grey area here. Donnie Cates is 100% right, and the thieves are thieves.
People arguing with him, it was a strange thing to kind of read
through.
Saying,
I can't afford to buy comics. Then you don't have comics. I can't afford to buy a Ferrari, so I don't have a Ferrari. It really is that simple.
It is. It's one of those. And Donnie Cates in the argument brought it up. You can get free comics online. It's doable. It's easy to do.
There's loads of free stuff,
and I don't know. It's like I know even I have friends who read stuff for free and then kind of complain that stuff gets cancelled. And it's like, but it's cancelled because of you.
Yeah.
So
I mean. Even off the top of my head, I can think of two immediate examples of small independent people who want you to read the first issues of their comics so that you will then continue to read them, and they put them online for free. Friend of the show, the T-Pub, they've got loads of... Neil Gibson's been on my previous comic book show, and he's a lovely fella, and he puts loads of free comic books up. You've got some time, you've not got any money, go to the T-Pub website. Similarly, first issues of everything by TKO, they are also online for free. There is lots and lots of free comic books. Battle Pug, you could lose forever reading Battle Pug. Order of the Stick, there's hundreds,
tons of webcomics that are intentionally free. And
Alien Loves Predator is a favourite of mine. I'm just reeling stuff off the top of my head here. There is so much free stuff out there. Don't steal stuff that people are making their livelihood off. You wouldn't want someone to steal money out of your wallet the moment you put it into your wallet after you'd earned it working in the pub or whatever you're doing. So, no grey area. Don't steal. Donnie Cates.
Completely fair, yeah.
Totally with you.
And I do love Donnie Cates. I say it a lot, but...
And this all... I mean, in all seriousness, this is me returning to my favourite rant. I don't stream stuff. I don't stream stuff that even though British people can't have The Mandalorian, and for a long, long time they couldn't have Swamp Thing, I didn't steal. Even though it was incredibly frustrating, and I whined about it almost every week.
Yeah, of course.
I haven't stolen this stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think... Yeah, again, there's so much stuff that we can get that there's not a lot of argument for.
No.
But there we go.
I was very angry.
I have two other news things. I don't know.
Right, give me a news.
Marvel are going to be publishing more Ultraman comics, or some Ultraman comics.
Ultraman, but that's
Ultraman.
Like manga, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Apparently, we're getting comics. I read the article a week ago nearly, and I can't remember what it said, but we're getting Ultraman comics.
Is it going to be in the Marvel universe, or is it going to be like separate universe Marvel comics?
I think it's going to be like like Conan and Star Wars are there, but they're not Conan, bad example, but they're kind of off doing their own thing.
Isn't Conan an Avenger now?
Well, when it suits, yeah. I think it's going to be a similar thing that Ultraman will occupy his own little pocket of.
So not like Conan then?
Not like Conan. Like Star Wars.
Like Star Wars.
Better example.
Yes, that is a good example.
So I'm looking forward to that. It's interesting.
It's almost like we have a show where we could put the first issue of it on as a discussion point.
What would that show be called?
It'd have a really catchy name.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And my final thing is that the Batman casting, there's more of it.
Of course there is. They've cast a whole cinematic universe for this. And we still don't know if it's linked to Joker. We don't know if it's linked to the DCU. We don't know if it's completely separate to both of them.
I'm kind of living the mystery, and I'm okay with that.
It's brilliant.
We'll see, and that's cool.
Have they cast a Joker?
No.
Oh.
So the casting we've got is for Carmine Falcone. Falcone?
Yeah.
I don't know. The head of the crime family. You know the one.
Yeah.
And it is John Turturro.
It's a good name.
Who you would know from Transformers, The Last Night, Transformers, Dark of the Moon, Transformers, Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, that's right. That's what
Okay, good.
That's what I'm saying here because
I've not seen any Transformers films because I don't want to.
Also, the first Transformers, Don't Mess with the Zohan, and cult classics like The Big Lebowski and Bart and Fink, which are
I've seen Don't Mess with the Zohan, and I didn't like The Big Lebowski.
controversial, but
I know.
I'll allow it. So, yeah, quite a seasoned actor. He's done some things and
Culty,
yeah,
by the sounds of things.
and Transformers.
And Transformers.
It's very much the opposite of a cult classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite a good actor, and I can see it. I think this is the thing we've said with every casting. It's been like, yeah, I can totally see that working. No idea how it will work or what the film will be, but we'll see, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. There are many characters in this film. It's almost like they've come to Endgame before they've even had the previous 20 films.
And I guess that's the thing we never really know is how many of these characters will actually appear, how many will be kind of cameos or name drops, and then...
We did talk about Lando Calrissian, didn't we?
We did.
Who was like... Who never became Two-Face, even though he was... what's his name? Harvey Dent.
Yeah, for 2 films. So we'll see. I mean, that's a reality, isn't it? It could be casting for a potential sequels and stuff.
It's fascinating, though. They've got some actors with serious chops.
Yeah, some quite big names. And some. I guess that's interesting. So there's some actors associated that are kind of not who you would think, who would be an immediate, oh yeah, I'd cast you as that, but some interesting casting choices as well, I think, which I'm looking forward to. I guess we'll see what we get, but there's a lot of mystery.
Good. And I hope it's good. I want it to be good.
Yeah,
I've got one more bit of news.
Extra news. I double newsed you then because I thought you were all out.
No, I've got one more news, and we are not going to get into politics on this show. We are not going to state how we're voting. In fact, I've already voted because I have a postal vote. However,
damn, prepared.
Yeah. People may be able to glean which side I tend to lean towards because of the way I talk, but
and past comments on the show
potentially. But it's fascinating that Alan Moore has posted on his social media that he hates, and he explicitly says, do not like. But he's posted that he's voting for the first time in his life in this election, and that he's voting
that's
Labour.
Interesting.
Because it was basically he had a rant about how the Tories, what they have done to the country, and that he was voting Labour because even though he's an anarchist, he would prefer to vote against that than not vote at all, which is fascinating.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
No judgment, no statement of whether or not I agree with Alan Moore, but he's an odd man, isn't he?
He is, and I know a lot of people kind of take that as so they don't like him because he's odd, but I kind of love, every time there is an interview with him, it's kind of seeing behind the curtain of who Alan Moore is kind of a really intriguing, like, I quite like the oddness, and it seems justified when he talks about himself.
However you are going to vote, the fact that Alan Moore has got involved is...
And on social media.
Yeah, it's not what I expected to see, and I just thought it was interesting.
And that should be your motivation to vote as well.
Yeah, you should vote. And vote the right way.
You know what we mean.
Yeah, we do. Sorry, I said we weren't going to do that. And we're not going to be explicit. We're not going to be explicit. But, you know, I quite like the NHS.
I mean, that's a fair argument.
Again, that's just a statement of facts. That isn't siding on either side. That's just me saying.
Laying down the facts here.
I like the
Mark
NHS.
Likes the NHS.
I do. I think it's great, and I want to have one when I'm old.
Yes, fair. Yes, also fair.
Anyway, we're not going to talk about that anymore.
No.
Shall we look at this week's comics?
Let's, yeah.
But before we do, Zach, tell us about our sponsor for this show.
So our sponsor is Travelling Man.
Thanks.
And they are your local comic book shop if you're in Manchester, York, Newcastle or Leeds. I played around with the order then, I shouldn't have done that.
No.
They do comics, graphic novels, trades, board games, manga, RPGs, CCGs.
I've seen them stock, like teddies, and there was a Diglett teddy at one point.
There was a Diglett teddy.
I didn't buy it. I wanted it though.
Yeah, you should have bought that.
I should have bought that. They got good stuff though.
They do got good stuff.
Yeah.
And incidentally, they have an offer for this Black Friday weekend.
Yeah. So if you are listening to the live show and you think, "Ooh, I would like some cheap comics and stuff," then yeah, you should go before the offer ends.
And they did tell us what the offer is, and I've forgotten what it is.
It's 50% off everything, and that
Double
is
loyalty
only
points.
Yeah, and double loyalty points on your loyalty card. Yeah, and you get you've only got till the end of Sunday, so this will go up
Saturday morning.
This will be live on Saturday, but I'll find a way to make it go up because I'm away this weekend. But I'll make sure it goes up Sunday morning as well.
Yes,
I'll find a way.
Yes,
he says.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Indeed.
Indeed.
But yeah, take advantage of that offer if you listen to this in time. If not, go to Travelling Man anyway, because they're well good.
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cracking.
So the concept of this is pull or pass. We read 3 comics, and whether or not we decide whether or not we would like to put them on our pull list, or whether or not we would like to pass on them because we've decided that they're not what we're looking for. And very quickly, your pull list, if you've not heard of it, your pull is a casual subscription service with your local comic book store. Comics come out every week, and we're all far too busy. We're all far too busy to keep on top of things. So your pull list is a casual subscription where you tell your comic book shop your favourite comics, and they always put that to one side for you, so that there's an issue for you to pick up whenever you want to. You can tell them stuff that's coming in future that you'd like them to stick in there as well. And yeah, you pick up your comics whenever you like. You pick them up once a week if you're well into it. You pick them up whenever you can. If you're not, you pick them up on payday if, you're not very good with money. Hi. And yeah, they will keep your comics back for you, and there's no direct debit or any stuff like that, and you can always tell them to take stuff off and put it back on. And it's a nice way of organising yourself so that you don't miss out on any of the comics that you want to see. And it is Indie Week.
It is Indie Week.
Indie Week.
The first ever Indie Week.
Yeah, I'm still not sure whether Indie Week will get us lots of listeners,
It's arguable as well, though, that Image and Dark Horse are pretty big publishers.
Yeah, I suppose.
So it's independent in the loosest possible term.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have got a Black Mask comic as well, and that's not a big...
No, they're pretty small by comparison.
But they're interesting. I keep spotting stuff by Black Mask, and I go, go.
Black Mask is quite a weird mix of books at times. I've read a few of the titles. Matthew Rosenberg had a book called We Can Never Go Home, about 2 teenagers who have superpowers and have to run away from home, and it's pretty good. It's kind of a story about, violence is bad.
Okay.
These kids make terrible decisions, learn from that. But it's got this great it's set in the 90s, and it's got this great kind of 90s and 80s punk soundtrack, which will definitely get featured on the show at some point.
Well, I'll tell you what, should we talk about Space Rider's Vortex of Darkness first? That's the one that we've got from Black Mask, and the name. Oh my goodness gracious me.
Also, so the front cover is amazing.
The front cover is amazing. I put on my notes, gothy neon was how I described it.
If that was painted inside of like a funhouse somewhere in like a blacklit room, wouldn't even question it.
Oh yeah.
But the thing that stuck with me most is the inside cover says Vortex of Darkness in the most kind of death metal band fonts.
It definitely is. You could see Slipknot using that font.
Big into the cover design and the kind of Vortex of Darkness graphic there.
Yeah, it's definitely a statement of intent. It's comic books for a certain type of folk.
So a friend of mine described Outer Darkness, which is an Image book, as like a heavy metal album and Star Trek all at once. And I'm going to steal that quote to kind of fit to this. So maybe not Star Trek, but like a Drax the Destroyer meets a heavy metal album.
Yeah.
That's what this is in like comic book form.
Well, I put, talking about the art specifically, I put down two things. He-Man
Yes.
and tattoos.
Yes.
Because the first couple of pages, I looked at it, I was like, that really reminds me of He-Man. And then, of course, there was lots and lots of axe murder and blood and guts and gore. I was like, that doesn't remind me of He-Man. And
Extreme He-Man.
He-Man. Extreme. He-Man After Dark.
Incidentally, DC Comics, we are available to write that series if you need us.
Oh, I'd love to write He-Man After Dark. Although Fisto, well, let's not talk about him. Anyway, moving on. Tattoos. Yeah, a lot of the images are very kind of trad tattoo stuff as well. And I like my tattoos. I've got lots of tattoos. People with tattoos, once you've lost count of the number of tattoos you have, you start talking about coverage. And that's kind of like percentage of your body that you have used. And I've got to the coverage stage. So this was very much... I was looking through it going, oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's so cool. And it is just... The artwork is wonderful.
It's kind of... it's hard to describe the artwork. It's kind of not the most incredible artwork you're ever going to see. It can't...
No.
But...
You know, we're not talking marvels.
No, but... I kind of love it. And
I loved it.
I kind of love how almost slapdash it looks, and the fact that like the panels are hand drawn and the colouring is like someone who's only aware of primary colours.
Yeah.
But then they've gone, oh wait, there's like, is purple real? I can use purple. But he's got that vibe to it of someone like discovering colours as they're going along, and I'm cool with that.
I mean, we haven't talked about the content whatsoever yet, but
it's hard to
loved the artwork, absolutely loved it, and it just reminded me of my childhood. Then it reminded me of tattoos, and I liked my childhood, and I really liked tattoos, so I was well happy.
I think when you get to Maria, I can't remember the full name. It's a long Spanish name. Maria. Yeah. Maria, the kind of devil woman who lives outside the universe.
Yes. After she chopped the devil's head off and drank his blood.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
All the artwork
Spoilers.
for her backstory was like, yeah, all of this is this is like a massive back piece. This is It sure is something. It's in space. The devil's involved.
Yes.
There are alternate dimensions mentioned.
There are space bikers, and they're not mice from Mars.
Which, all at once, a bit disappointing, but also great still.
Yeah.
This is something I was going to mention. This isn't the first Space Riders.
Oh, is it not?
So there has been...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's been at least one book before, which is why it's a little bit like... Hey, you know this, right? So it's not even massively like that. There's just a few things.
I didn't find it intimidatingly so. I didn't even spot it. But now you've said it, then yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of... You could start from this. We have.
You could.
But it definitely has that feel of, yeah, I think if we'd read the previous trade, we'd probably have a bit more insight.
Yeah.
Interesting as well, it's kind of slightly bilingual. Well, massively bilingual at times. So they kind of slip into Spanish. The monkey's called Mono, which is Spanish for monkey.
That is
very on the nose.
That is good. So you have got a massive advantage over me.
She'd already gone to bed when I started reading this. So
but your girlfriend, who is a Spaniard, is teaching you Spanish.
Hey, Catalonian. It's important.
Oh, okay. And I know. I did know that as well. Sorry. I haven't done Spanish since GCSE in 1995.
Well, okay, then maybe your Spanish isn't as strong as mine, right?
No. But I can tell you the swear words, if that helps.
I've not even written anything down about...
In fact, it did use the swear words, thinking about it. Yeah, it did. It did.
I haven't written down what the plot is, because I can't really...
Well, when it comes to the plot, I've written down psychedelic bonkers.
Funny that. Really weird, because my summary sentence for this comic is... This is just so much to take in. It's psychedelic, it's bonkers.
No way.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Weird that we've gone for the exact same choice of words.
Well, I use bonkers as a PG equivalent of what I would have said.
Yeah, fair. Me too. Yeah. Trying to tone it down.
To do with, like, flying mammals and their excretion.
So we kind of see our protagonist, whose name escapes me,
Beard guy.
Beard man, who's got... He looks
like he should have 100 tattoos.
He looks like Pirate Reed Richards.
He does.
In space.
He does.
With a kind of Skeletor mask. And yes.
I actually thought it was more of a Destro mask, actually.
A little bit with the one eye.
Yeah, a bit more Destro.
Deathstroke meets Skeletor.
Destro.
Oh, Destro.
Not Deathstroke,
Well,
Destro.
It was quite Deathstroke as well, wasn't it?
A little bit, but more Destro.
Okay, fair.
And also Andros from Star Fox.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. All of these things shuffled together.
This book made me... I have no idea. The plot was just... What's going on? But everything about this book made me really happy.
At the risk of sounding like an NME review, this is like an 80s cartoon on acid.
Oh, it is, though. But like actually on acid rather than just stronger or more powerful.
Yeah.
Like as if someone who did write an 80s cartoon got absolutely battered and took more LSD than any human should and then was like, I'm going to make He-Man crazy.
And did. It's so our protagonist kind of gets hunted by bounty hunters.
He does.
Takes them all out. Immediately gets a message from his humanoid baboon friend Mono. Goes to check in with him, and basically Mono just hits him with so Maria, right? She's very Spanish and she's outside of time and space right now. But she killed the devil, took his powers, built an army of monsters, and she's coming for us. And it just kind of ends with got to get the band back together then, I guess. Done. And issue 1.
It's pretty marvellous.
I really, really like this.
Me too.
In a way that I don't fully understand.
No.
It's kind of gone so far that I'm willing to follow it wherever it may lead.
It's either going to carry on and be exceptional, or it's going to go to pot. I think the next issue could be like a more crazy, I love this, or I could just read it and go, I'm done.
Yeah, I think it all hangs now on issue 2. I think the first book is only 4 issues, so they don't even have to do that much to get this series together. If they can nail the first 2 issues, people are going to stick around for all 4.
Yeah.
So
it is a pull for me, but I don't know if issue 2 will mean I'll immediately take it off my pull list, but I am definitely buying issue 2.
Yeah, this is a pull for me as well. It's a pull I'm kind of a little bit afraid of, but I think it's the... and I think that's exactly what Carlos Grifoni and Alexis Zirit, I'm going to go with, as my pronunciation. I think that's what they want. I think they want me to not trust this entirely, and...
I think they want more acid, to be honest with you. They should take it if they need it to make issue 2 as good as the first one. Although we don't condone drug use on this show. We're a family-friendly show. Drinking and drugs and all the other bad things are bad, okay?
And we don't condone mixing He-Man with acid.
No. Should we move on? Let's do Killadelphia by Image.
So Killadelphia by Image is... a son investigating his father's death in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And all I've learned about this title is if I have to write down Killadelphia, I just can't do it.
No,
I'm going to spell it wrong, and it's not even that
I know
difficult.
how to spell Philadelphia.
But for some reason, dropping that H makes it really confusing.
It really does. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And you open this book, and the first page is a statement of how damn good the art's going to be. It's gorgeous.
I do have one complaint about first page artwork, though.
Go on.
The email's a little bit too small.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to talk about the text boxes quite a bit, actually, but...
Totally fair. I have notes on them as well.
Ignoring the text box, yeah, the art is just... It is a look at what this book has got.
Kind of reminds me of... so have you read Daredevil, like the Brian Michael Bendis stuff that he did with Alex Maleev, I believe?
It's
maybe. Kind of early 2000s Daredevil.
I've read a lot of Daredevil.
You'd really like it, but it kind of reminds me of that style of art a little bit. A little bit less over the top, I guess, but similar.
And it's not quite as watercolours-y as Descender and Ascender, but...
It's kind of a similar feel, though,
yes,
at times.
Yes, it's great. And should we talk about the text? Because you're right about the first email. I understand the impact they're trying to make, but I'm a specky, and I take my glasses off to read, and I had to put the comic book right up to my face.
Interesting, I put my glasses on to read.
Yeah, well, that means you're long-sighted and I'm short-sighted.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Well, this is a bit of a tangent, but when I was a kid, I used to take the mickey out of my 41-year-old dad because he had grey chest hair and took his glasses off to read.
We are.
That came back to haunt me. Yeah. He's 75 and he's got more hair than me. That definitely came back to haunt me, didn't it?
It's true. I met him the other day.
Yeah, he's all right now. Mess of time. Anyway, so yeah, that text box was too small. It annoyed me. I had to pull it right up to my face and look like I can't read. And then the journal text. Yeah. I loved the idea, and it's not original or anything, but no. I loved the idea of the text in the dialogue boxes reflecting the journal as a different font. But I have a degree in English, and I found this quite difficult to read. The font was very, very cursive.
Yeah, I've made a note that is just handwritten narration will never fail to annoy me.
I think if they'd have softened the cursive to more symbolic and noticeably different,
because you would have still gotten what it was about,
but not actively difficult to read. However good your reading age is, that as much as it worked as a concept, it was just that little bit edging too far towards illegible.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it served a purpose and it worked kind of thematically. Yeah, but yeah, the font did frustrate.
We are agreeing on a lot today, Zach.
This might be it. We might have finally clicked. You know, this is a shared consciousness. We've reached that level.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I think these books that we've read in Indie Week haven't been as polarizing as some of the Marvel and DC stuff might have been, actually.
Yeah, I think
and it does help that we both really like indie and crime and horror and sci-fi stuff.
Yes,
probably more than both of us like superheroes, actually.
Depending on the day, yeah.
This book, I was expecting crime from the cover, and I got horror.
Yeah, kind of
Didn't bother me.
Horror crime or crime horror.
Yeah, you're right. Horror crime is fair, but the front cover doesn't give me horror. The front cover gives me kind of gritty's 40s crime kind of look.
Incidentally, the cover that we see at the back for cover 2, full horror. So
yeah, let me have a look.
It's kind of a...
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, that's about as horror-y as it can be.
I guess
like 1,000 Nights horror, that.
It's the thing of...
Not 1,000 Nights, 500 Nights. 500... What is it? The vampire one.
30 Days of Night.
30 Days of Night. I was close.
500, 1,000, 30, all the same to us.
I know what I meant. Good comment, that.
If you hadn't read the description of this... And
which I hadn't.
Okay. So I guess maybe that's intentional. So I read it and the description ends with ... and vampires. So I guess for me, I knew I was going to get a vampire book.
I just saw an image title that was aimed at mature audiences. I'm like, yeah, I'll try that.
Fair. And yeah, I think that suits. It is an image title aimed at mature audiences, and it succeeds at that.
Yeah, and I was talking about my dad earlier. I love the father-son dynamic where there's clearly love, but there is conflict.
Yeah. And
I thought that was very real, and most people will have that with their dad. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I really liked that. I thought that was really well done. I thought it was really believable. And there's a lot to like about this book.
Yeah,
despite
I agree.
Its borderline illegible text at some point.
The text is a kind of a major con for this, but pros, I think there's many of those as well.
Yeah.
Artwork was one that interested me because I really like the artwork, but the way the flashbacks are dealt with, it's kind of the artwork flicks between colour and black and white.
Yes.
And I kind of feel like that would have benefited from being in keeping with the time jumps, because there are times where it's not the clearest of how far we've jumped, because is it 10 days we jump back and forth?
Yeah.
But there are times when it's like, oh, right, okay, I'm 10 days forward now. I didn't.
I see.
You don't immediately get. So the first
that's
page,
fair, actually. I hadn't spotted that, but yes, you're right.
So because it takes place like over the space of 2 weeks, I guess, the jumping back and forth can be a little bit messy at times because it's all the same characters. It's just the father and the son that vary. It's the same locations. It's the same everything. So I think sometimes when they show you a background, it's like, I don't know where we are. Okay, right, it's the son now investigating this, and it's the father investigating this. And
Yeah.
so it kind of mirrors itself, which I guess is the intention.
Yeah.
But I think a clearer divide would have helped with that.
What did you think of the cliffhanger?
Completely surprised me. I'm not...
Oh, come on!
I kind of suspected what the cliffhanger is, but the fact that it's just suddenly, be right back, gonna go do some grave robbing, was like, you just turn the page and suddenly he's digging up his dad's grave. Did you see that coming? Because that was...
Perhaps not that element, but I did see the big reveal, the twist coming a mile away.
That was the thing. I saw the twist. I think the way it was presented was like, okay, I'm not sure how we've got to, let's grab a shovel and go for a dig. But
yeah, perhaps that's fair.
But I don't think this was this. So we've talked about it in the past about some Image titles getting kind of an oversized first issue.
Right.
This, I think, is just 22 pages.
Yeah, this is a standard size issue, yeah.
So I feel like it would have... I always say, whichever we get, if it's 22 pages, I say it would have benefited from being 50. If it's a 50-page issue, I say it would have benefited from being 22.
You don't always say that, but you do say that quite a lot.
I think this could have benefited from being a little bit longer, seeing a little bit more of the father, seeing a little bit more of the son, getting a bit more of a overall picture of them both.
That's fair.
And seeing how it would have all come together a little bit more. I think the way people handle time jumps in comics can sometimes be a little bit counterproductive, but yeah, I think giving more space to both of them would have helped.
So,
yes,
is it a pull or is it a pass?
It's an indecisive one. I've not decided yet. So
that's not how the show works.
I know, right? I think,
but I'm in the same boat too.
I think it's the Mark Adams special, and it's a pass. I'm probably going to get the trade.
I'm probably going to look at... Is it a limited series, or is it a...
I'm not sure. I think it might be ongoing.
If it's ongoing, I probably won't. But if it's not ongoing, I might... I do like pulling limited series that I know are going to like finish in 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's a pull if it's a limited series. It's a pass, but read the trade, if it's not limited. So I probably should have done some more research.
Yes,
and not been
fair.
so vague on whether or not it was a pull. It is hard with everything being so black and white with this show.
Yeah, and I'm not saying change the name, but I'm saying maybe we need a middle ground category.
No, we're not doing it. It's pull or pass, and we can blither around it as much as we like.
Don't go all Rorschach on me. We can have compromise.
Well, we have. We just had a compromise. We're not changing the name, and we're not having a specific term if we're dithering either, because that will encourage dither, and I don't want dither.
I love a good dither.
I know you do. Let's move on to Witchfinder, The Reign of Darkness, by Dark Horse.
A lot of darkness this week.
There's a lot of darkness. We've had a lot of darkness. And killing.
Yeah, a lot of killing, a lot of darkness.
Yeah.
Yes, Witchfinder is from Mike Mignola, and it's part of the Hellboy universe.
Yeah, I opened this.
Sort of.
And I opened this, and it said number 26 in a series. Does that mean
Yes.
issue 26, or there's been 25 previous Witchfinder stories? I'm completely confused.
It's one or the other. I think there have been 26 issues. Yeah, I don't know why I had to get so high pitched then.
Yeah.
There's been definitely other Witchfinder miniseries, and I saw on Mike Mignola's Twitter the other day that he's working on the cover art for the Witchfinder Omnibus.
Right.
So by the sounds of it, there's enough Witchfinder to
So it's
warrant,
almost
Omnibus.
So you're saying it's almost like a legacy, the legacy that Marvel do. It's number 26 of all Witchfinders ever, but it's number 1 of Witchfinder, The Reign of Darkness.
Yes.
Okay,
much
cool.
like we
That's
see,
what I thought it was, but it didn't make it explicit.
which is something we see with Hellboy and BPRD, that there's this kind of continuing, but everything's as a miniseries.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very much the same as that.
So issues and not volumes makes more sense, because I did find this relatively welcoming, despite the fact I hadn't read any Witchfinder before.
There was a couple of things, like there's a part where 2 characters kind of give Sir Edward, the Witchfinder, some information, and he's like, "Cool, let's go." And they're like, "Actually, we have jobs, so we're going to sit this story arc out because, come on, man,
Yeah.
gonna get paid." So that was the only kind of hint we got that there's stuff we don't know.
Yes.
Yes, very kind of occult Sherlock Holmes is the way I would describe.
Yes,
this.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I was almost a little bit surprised story-wise about how kind of straightforward it seemed.
Yeah.
I was expecting some... I don't know if it's because I've read Hellboy or what, but I was kind of expecting some more, like, out-and-out occult, twisty turniness. And
Yeah, and he was very kind of... They fitted a lot into it. He went and did everything immediately. And
yeah, there's not much hesitation.
I just found that a little bit... I don't know. Is anyone really like that? Like, there's no one like Sherlock in the Sherlock teleseries. There is no one like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was only okay for me, this book.
Yeah, I kind of feel quite similar. I'm not sure if it's going to be that this is just quite a slow burn, and this first issue is all about, he's so sure of himself, but he's wrong, or everyone else thinks he's wrong. So is it a case of, sowing the seeds of doubt? But then if it's going to be a slow burn, this is issue 1 of 5, so it's a mini series again.
This is my thing. This is very much my kind of thing that I normally like. But there was something about it that I was just like, just didn't hit the spot for me, and I couldn't really put my finger on it.
Yeah, I feel very much the same. This is like our week. One of us should have done the show.
I'm going to have to find a way to disagree with you at some point.
Of course, we'll find a way. Christopher Mitten, great name.
Good name.
Who was the artist, though? I think his art was really nice, really smooth, and it really suited this book.
And that's where we don't agree. I thought the art was fine. It's not my favourite art since we've started the show. I think since we've started the show and doing my previous show, I've seen some incredible artwork that is very much my thing. And I don't think it's even fair to compare the artwork in this book to something like Ascender or Descender, but I always will. And the art was good. The art was fine. But I've seen stuff that is much more to my taste in comic books. And it didn't put me off, but it didn't rock my world. You look at something like Space Riders, that was crazy. And the art, I wouldn't describe it as better.
No.
I don't think it would be fair to compare them in that way. But the art just didn't make me go, "Quah," like a lot of comic book art does.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think maybe that's something that was missing from this as well, is I was kind of expecting the kind of final pages of utter, witchcrafty, occult,
yeah,
in your words, and instead we get two ravens having a chat.
Yeah, and I did feel like this came to a conclusion, and I don't need or want to read any more.
It's so based on the intro we get, it does tell us in like that. So there's like a paragraph on the first page. Big fan of those paragraphs. That basically tells us this is all Jack the Ripper that he's going after, which obviously is there in the story. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Are we going to find out more about Jack the Ripper? How is he going to play into this? It's hard to say, isn't it? We kind of He's on the trail of Jack the Ripper, but he's also completely wrong in this first issue, or is he completely wrong with his suspects? And I don't know where we're going with it.
There's one way to find out. Is it a pull or is it a pass?
It's a pass for me.
It is a pass for me too, but I think it was a more obvious pass for me than you.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I would like to see where it's going to go, but this first issue it's fine. I don't know. Maybe if I knew more about Witchfinder from the beginning, but I don't know if I've got 26 issues in me.
Indeed.
So yeah, 2 passes and a pull.
Yeah, me too. Zach, we've done our usual thing of talking too much, and we've got like 2 minutes to talk about next week. So I'm just going to tell you what we're doing next week, and we're not going to have any discussion. We're doing Conan Serpent War #1 by Marvel. Your choice, we're doing Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Boom. Ugh. And we're doing my choice, 20XX by Image. Is that what we're calling it? 20XX?
That's what I agreed with the staff of Travelling Man.
20XX. Yeah, so that's what we're doing next week.
And our final announcement, we will have a Pull or Pass Dark next Tuesday.
After dark.
Oh, yeah.
Pull up, not just dark, after dark.
Pull or Pass After Dark.
Pull or Pass
next
After
Tuesday.
Dark.
It'll be the second official one.
Yeah.
I'm going to be interviewing Steve Horry, who is a artist and writer of comics.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's worked for Image and Comic House mostly. So series like The Islanders, Double D, and
I'm very jealous you're getting to do that. I'm away this weekend, so I can't join in.
It'll be fun. We'll see how it goes, and maybe we'll get you in for the next one.
Maybe. And then Pull Up Pass After Dark isn't going to be just interviews. It just so happens the first two are. We're going to do lots of weird and wonderful stuff, but that's quite a coup, that, Zach. Smooth.
I think I'm doing quite well.
You are, and I'm a little bit gel. And I'm away this weekend.
That's what I'm all about, making you jealous.
Yeah, so Pull Up Pass After Dark will be up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All being well.
And that's all we've got time for on Pull or Pass this week. We've pulled, we've passed.
We're going to do it all again next week.
And we'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to Pull or Pass. To listen again, it's www.mixcloud.com/pull-or-pass.
Or you can listen to the podcast version on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and all other good podcast sites.
Join our Facebook group, search for Pull or Pass Radio Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Pull or Pass.